Real treat this morning. This young lady has spoken at PETS for 2 or 3 years now and around our district, and I know many other districts. And she's a pretty special girl, and Gary Wong wants us to get new members. And she is one of the most successful Rotarians in doing so. Kristi's given me a couple of notes that are not in her bio, and I just want to read through these. She likes to work exactly what we're doing here. She works with emerging leaders to help cultivate their message, so in business and in Rotary. She loves karaoke, for anyone who maybe after tonight wants to go up to the karaoke bar upstairs. She's learning to curl, which is kind of interesting. And she loves funky socks, and yesterday she showed me her funky socks, and she's not wearing socks today, so I know you're going to be disappointed. I wore funky socks just for Kristi. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Kristi Govertsen out to the stage.
Good morning. Or am I on? Good morning. Yeah, there we go. It's so fun to be back at PETS. I've had the chance over the last couple of years to go to all these districts, and getting to come back now is just homecoming. I get to hang out with friends. So thank you to everyone for being so welcoming. And I think we can turn on the PowerPoint. I know, waiting in anticipation. Yeah. We really do. But in the meantime, we'll just talk about socks. Yeah. Bruce wearing the socks, how awesome was that, right? Yay. Yes, let's applaud Bruce's socks. It's actually my goal, it's one of my missions this year, my 2014 goals, to bring back tube socks as a fashion thing. And so now that I have a captive audience of 700 people, go out and wear tube socks. And there we go, my work is done. All right, so today we're going to be talking about membership. Obviously, I'm the membership nerd. And before we get started, you have an action step. I want, at your tables, everybody to pick a partner. So take a couple of seconds and pick a partner. We're good? All right. So indicate to me that you have found your partner by high-fiving your partner. Very good. All right. You guys get an A+. Most groups I go to, we have to practice the high five like 3 times. You guys are awesome. I can already tell you're going to have a successful year as presidents. All right, is this working? So have you ever wondered what life would look like if your club was vibrant and dynamic and energetic? And have you ever wondered what it would feel like if all of the members of your club were engaging in membership activities? Wouldn't that be amazing? So how many of you want more members in your club? How many of you do not want more members in your club? Okay. How many of you would never raise your hand no matter what I ask you? Okay, very good. And how many of you would like to get the most out of our time together today? Yeah, me too. I would really like that. So one more high five before we move on. And by the way, if you're germophobic, you can high elbow, if that's better, all right? Just do it gently. Don't pop somebody in the face. So we're going to talk about membership. And I have the philosophy that membership is people. Are we all good with that framework? That's good because it's a very long half hour if you do not follow that. And we grow our clubs and we bring in members and we have club extension where we, build brand new clubs. I was the district membership chair in my district, which is District 5100. And I was for 3 years, and the week that I came on as district membership chair, we had a club in our district dissolve. The club went away. Not because I came on as district membership chair. They wouldn't let me up here if that had happened. It actually had taken a long time to get to that point. It just happened the official end was right as I came on. But what it gave me the opportunity to do was to really consider why clubs fail. And the only reason I could come up with is that the relationships fail. That we're either not going out and cultivating new relationships and bringing in new members, or the relationships within the club we're not getting along, or we're having personality conflicts, or the club as a whole, that the relationship with the community just no longer holds value. And if any of those three relationships fail, that club is going to spiral. And oftentimes it's very hard to turn that around if you don't catch it early. So because membership is people, I am of the opinion that membership is relationship. Are we good with that? Very good. I like that we're clapping already. Yay! We're like 2 minutes into the program. I am the membership nerd, a membership junkie. I'm addicted to membership. I've been to a lot of districts, a lot of clubs. I've snuck into Kiwanis Club meetings just to see what they're doing in membership. And I've decided that there are 6 different types of relationships. We're not going to talk about all of these today, but I did want to mention them. This is a counterintuitive graphic. It starts at the bottom. The first relationship I have is with me, with myself. And then there's the us. That's the relationship I have with my club. Then there's the come hang out with us relationship. That's the attraction, bringing people in. Let's hang out for a really long time. That's the retention or the engagement relationship. Then the how can we be awesome? By the way, the buzz phrase we have in Rotary is being an effective club. I just think this sounds better. And then how can we be super awesome? Now, and that's where you can be really innovative, you can do best practices and do very creative things in your club and roll that out effectively. Now, we're not going to talk about all of this, but the reason I mention it is I'm not your average Rotarian. I'm a little younger, not as young as I used to be, but I'm a little younger. I'm a woman, and this is not your average, I think, image of Rotarians. And when I first came into Rotary, we started a group in my club called Riot, which is Rotarians in our 20s and 30s. I'm, by the way, in the riffraff now. I am not a rioter anymore. Yeah, in our club, we have the riffraff, not to be confused with rigor, which is Rotarians in our geriatrics or retirement, is what they call themselves. So, they named themselves. We didn't name them. That was their own joke. But I was a rioter, and my first opportunity to talk to clubs was to go speak about young Rotarians. And I would walk into a club, and there would be 12 people in the club, average age 82. And they would bring me in, they would sit me in the corner, they would ignore me for 45 minutes. They would sit around the table and be kind of grouchy with each other. And I would get through my song and dance about young Rotarians, and then they would ask, how do we attract young people? And what I discovered was that's a great goal, but they were really asking about maybe that sort of how can we be awesome or how can we be super awesome, and really they had other ducks to get in a row down there maybe in the me and the us levels, right? And so to do these relationships, you really need to do them in order. So one of the best things you can do is look around in your club and maybe gauge where are you, and start there, because you'll create more momentum than trying to skip to where maybe you're not ready to be, right? Now, I believe there's an organic process, but before we jump into that part, I just want to check in to make sure we're all kind of doing the same thing. When you came into Rotary, were you a guest to your club? Yeah. Unless you just tripped that day and fell into the room and decided to stay for lunch, right? Yeah, probably somebody invited you, you were a guest. Good. And then somebody proposed you. Yeah, and you were inducted. Okay. And then you've stayed. Give your partner a high five for retaining yourselves. Yay! We're here. And technically we're engaged now. I'm still going to use the word retention. Now, when I became the district membership chair, what happens when you're in membership, by the way, is you're kind of like a membership priest. You tell somebody you're in membership, and they're like, oh, we have a real problem with membership. We have a real issue with membership, and then they will confess all their membership sins to you. And what I did discover is I believe everybody feels that challenge of membership. But some clubs really are challenged. And other clubs, I think, feel challenged, but they're doing okay. And I took a look at the clubs that were doing okay. And what they were doing that they had in common is they were doing this process in a very natural, organic way, which is that it's identical to the process of dating, to the wedding, and then to a marriage, and hopefully a long, happy marriage. And when I looked at the clubs that were really actually having a challenge, like they were running into that brick wall and not getting very far, they were doing this process a little backwards. And they were overly focused on the wedding. So how many of you have been on a first date? It's Valentine's weekend. Or have you seen a first date in a movie and it looked like fun? Right? Okay. By the way, how does the first date go if all you do is talk about the wedding? Okay. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's very rare, and in general, that's a little out of order. But we do this in our Rotary clubs. I see it happen all the time. A guest comes in, they sit down, we're like, hi, how are you? When are you going to join? And we're just a little quick to jump the gun, and that can be very off-putting, and it doesn't actually get us closer to our goals. So the clubs that actually do a little bit better with membership, they do this process, but the majority of their energy goes into the guest side, or the dating, or the marriage side, the retention. The wedding is still a special day, but not all the energy goes there. We're going to focus on this side today, because we don't have time in my half hour to do all of it. I know it would be fun to spend 10 hours doing membership today, but we're going to focus just on this side. Now, let's talk about relationships. How many of you have heard about the model of relationships where it's 50-50? Yeah? How do you guys feel about that model? Right? I get 50%, you get 50%. We have a whole relationship, right? Here's what happens in that relationship. All right, I'm having a pretty good day, so I'm going to give 50%. Well, I'm not having a very good day, so I'm going to give 40%. Well, that's okay, honey. I'll do 60%. We're going to be okay. Okay, that's okay, but I'm still having a bad week, and now I'm down to 30%. And okay, well, now I'm kind of irritated with that, so I'm back down to 50%. And okay, now I'm down at 20% because you're getting kind of irritated. And okay, well, you're at 20%. I'm going to be at 20%. Fine, you're at 20%. I'm at 10%, and now I'm at 10%, and then pretty soon we're all at 0, 0. So I don't know that that works particularly well. By the way, we do this in our Rotary clubs, right? I'm engaged in this, but I want you to be engaged in it, but you're not, so now I'm mad, so I'm not, and everybody takes their ball and goes home, right? So let's look at this model. Okay, fine, I'm going to give 100%, and you give 100%. How do you feel about that? By the way, it's exactly the same relationship as the 50-50, it just takes twice as long to get there. Okay. So we're going to go with this model instead. I'm going to give 100%, and I know what that looks like for me, and I have no idea what you're doing. And I'm not going to worry about it. Are we all okay with using that model today? Okay. I know, so much fun. No more 0%. Now, how many of you feel like membership is important? Very good, that is the correct answer. By the way, every room I walk into, that's the answer. That's also this pie chart. 100% of us believe membership is important. Yeah, this is the dullest pie chart you will ever see. Right before I became the district membership chair, I was sent to a zone training. That's where they train the district leadership in their positions. And that particular year, it's been a little while now, but that particular year, I was in a session for membership. And a statistic was thrown out into the room. We talked about it for like 2 seconds and we went on to something else. But the stat blew me away. And the stat is as follows. Over the lifetime of being a Rotarian, like from when you join to when you leave, only 15% of Rotarians will ever propose another person into membership. And that's this pie chart. Yeah, this is shocking to me. And it's sort of shocking for a couple of reasons. One, this is not my experience of Rotarians. I meet Rotarians all over the place. And it's not like I meet 15% of them and they're all excited about Rotary, and the other 85% are sitting around yawning and bored, right? Most Rotarians I meet are very enthusiastic. They're excited about their local projects and our international projects. So what this tells me is that 15% of us are excited in sharing Rotary, and I think it's just kind of off the radar of the rest of us, but we're not going out and sharing in a way that other people could be enthusiastic about those projects. The other reason why this pie chart and this stat is so, I want to say, harsh, is that no matter what room I talk to, everybody in the room falls into one of these two pieces of pie. You've either proposed somebody, and you're in the little blue piece of pie, or you haven't, and you're in the red piece of pie. I'm not going to call you out. You know who you are. We're grown-ups, right? You know which piece of pie you're in. But I do want to talk to the two groups separately. Okay? So I'm going to talk to the blue group first. Okay, so the little blue 15%. Full disclosure, I'm in the blue group, the little 15%, because they don't let you be the district membership chair unless you've proposed somebody at some point. Okay? So this is an interesting group because when I first started doing workshops as a membership chair, we would look at this pie chart for several hours, and we would journal our feelings about the pie chart. Are you so glad we're not having a workshop today? Yeah. But what was interesting about that exercise for me is I discovered that we were having common feelings about it. And the blue group had two responses to this pie chart. The first one was, what? I'm doing membership alone? Nobody's playing membership with me? That's it, I'm taking my ball and going home. Now, the other response from this blue group, it was kind of the opposite response, which is, what? I'm doing membership alone? I am awesome. I am single-handedly saving membership in my club. I am a rock star. Now, both responses are valid, but I will say this, and I've learned the hard way, that sometimes those of us in that 15%, we can be a little obnoxious and a little aggressive about membership, right? And that can be really off-putting. The other thing that happens with this little blue group is we get really focused on the red group. We look over at that big, almost Pac-Man looking piece of pie, and we go, oh my gosh, look at all those people. If we could just get that group to do something and to play in membership, it would be so easy. But here's what we're going to do. Those of us in the blue group, I want you to ignore the red group. Okay? We're going to play this game. Those of us in the blue group, we're going to play 100%, and we're going to stop worrying about the red group. Fair enough? Okay. The other thing I want to ask the blue group to do is that when you go home, you look in the mirror and you ask, what kind of Rotarian do I want to be? And do I want to keep bringing guests, being enthusiastic, and proposing people? If the answer is yes, I should keep doing that no matter what anybody else is doing. Okay? All right, let's talk to the red group. When I used to do that journaling exercise, the red group had a very specific response. And it was almost always some level of guilt or shame. Oh, I'm the reason. I'm the reason why membership is broken in my club. Now, sometimes that would cross over into kind of an unhealthy place where this burden of I am single-handedly breaking membership in my club. And if that was your response, that you had some guilt or shame if you're in this red group, let that go. There's a lot of reasons why people are in this red group. I mean, if you joined Rotary 2 months ago, you probably have not proposed anybody, right? The other thing is the guilt and the shame, it's not serving anybody, okay? So let it go. You're also in very good company. Almost everybody is in this group, okay? And it doesn't make you a bad Rotarian. I think what this just indicates is that membership is not on our radar in the same way that, say, maybe some of our financial goals or some of our international goals are. So I think this is just an indicator that we're just not paying attention, but it doesn't make any of us bad Rotarians. So let go of all the guilt and shame. Now, this group, in a weird sort of way, gets a little focused on the blue group. Sometimes we look at, in the red group, we look at the blue group and we're like, gosh, it's like sales or this kind of aggressive, obnoxious, let's go drink the Kool-Aid kind of vibe, and I don't want to be like that. So what I'm going to ask the red group to do is ignore the blue group. We're going to work on it. We'll stop being so aggressive, okay? And we're going to play this game, okay? I'm going to show up 100%. I'm not going to worry about the blue group. I also want the red group to go home, look in the mirror, and ask, what kind of Rotarian do I want to be? And if the answer is, I would like to start paying attention to membership, maybe a little more at the forefront, and bring guests, propose people, then I should do that. Sound good? All right. Now, I was doing a workshop one Saturday. It was a full-day workshop on membership, but this was well before I was the district membership chair. So I was invited to come in and do an hour. And I was doing, dating and marriage and my favorite conversation in membership. And there were 50 people at this workshop. Presidents, president-elects, and membership chairs. And they were there all day on a Saturday to learn about membership. Now, I was getting close to the end of my talk, and I was really enthusiastic. Shocker. I was really enthusiastic, and I was also very naive. And so I said, okay, we're going to go on a break here in a few minutes, and while we're on the break, I want everybody to pick up their phone, and I want you guys to invite a guest next week to your club. And the you-know-what hit the fan. 50 excuses why nobody could bring a guest the next week. Well, we meet on a Monday, and it's Saturday, and I'm not going to find anybody before Monday. Oh, we're a morning club, and nobody wants to come really early in the morning and hang out with us and crack a dawn. Oh, we're an evening club, and everybody's tired after work. Nobody's going to want to come hang out. Oh, but we meet in the middle of the day. Who takes 2 hours out of their workday, to go to a lunch? Every excuse in the book. I was horrified. And again, being naive, I could not be quiet about that. So we get the room to calm down. By the way, the room was so upset with me that I had to have 2 past district governors help me calm the room down. I'm not lying. This was an amazing, I saw people come up that were at that workshop amazed at the response that people were having. So the district governors get everybody to calm down, and I, being naive, could not be quiet, and I expressed my horror at this response. I was like, you know what? There are 50 people in this room. Your presidents, president-elects, and membership chairs. You're here all day on a Saturday to talk about membership. Nobody cares more about membership than you do. Nobody. And if you can't pick up the phone and invite a guest, how can you possibly go back to your membership and ask them to do the same? Okay, they rallied a little. They were inspired by that. So they all agreed to invite a guest, and I said, okay, that's great. This will be an interesting experiment. I'll check in a couple of weeks so you have a little bit of time, and we'll see how it goes. So how do you think this experiment went? Here's some different numbers. Okay, so this is how it went. Yeah. I did it because, of course, I was not going to ask them to do something that I wouldn't do. One other person did it, but she wasn't a participant. She had just shown up for a couple of hours, and she was the past district membership chair. So 2 of us did it. Yeah. By the way, this is a generous pie chart because, of course, I was going to do that. I was not going to fail the group, especially after I kind of yelled at them. Right? And of course, she was going to do it because she was really committed to membership. But really, neither of us were participants at this workshop. This should be all red. None of the participants did it. None of them. So 100% of us believe membership is important. Over the lifetime of us being Rotarians, only 15% of us are proposing people. By the way, this is a generous pie chart as well, because here's what it's not capturing. Basically what this says is, let's say I join Rotary, and I'm my second year of Rotary, I propose somebody. I'm now in the little 15% slice of pie. And then I'm in Rotary for 45 more years, and I never propose another person. By the way, we do have a rule of thumb in Rotary, which is we are supposed to be proposing people at the rate that for every 3 years we're in Rotary, we're proposing somebody. So if I've been in, by the way, my Rotary birthday is this week. I just hit my 9th year of Rotary. I know, awesome. But I should have proposed at least 3 people by now, right? So what that is not capturing, it's not capturing the person who proposes somebody and then just never does it again. So this is a generous pie chart. Then when I asked a group to do the simplest of steps, nothing happened. So this is one of my favorite quotes. To know and not do is to, in fact, not know. And I think we know membership is important, but right now we're still not acting like we know it. And my goal, of course, is that we get to say we know it. But we're working on it. Now, you're going to have some homework with your partner. We have an action step. And that is you're all going to invite a guest in the next couple of weeks. And then you're going to check in with your partner so you have a little bit of accountability. Okay? Everybody understand? So I want you to high-five your partner and say, we can do this. All right. All right. Here's the good news. Here's the good news. I am not going to check in with you, and I am not going to make a pie chart out of you. Okay? Good. Now, when you're doing the invitation, I actually don't even care what happens on the other side of the line. I don't care if they come. I don't care if they come 17 times. I don't care if they're potential members. I care that you pick up the phone and you do the inviting. That's what I care about. I care that you're showing up 100%. We're not going to worry about the other people. Good? All right. Quick behind the scenes. This is the most popular talk that I give, and the most common response I get, people will come up and say, I'm going to steal your talk. I'm like, okay. It's pie charts and some personal stories. Good luck with that. Okay. But I get what they want. They want to take the pie charts home. They want all their members to stand up and be called out if they're in that 85%. And they want to publicly shame their club members. So this is the secret to this. And then they come back to me and they say, I talked about this at my club and it's not working. I'm like, shocker, right? So here's the secret to this talk. I'm totally fine if you take these pie charts home and you do something with your club. But here's the secret, if you want it to be effective. Pie charts are not a weapon. Good? This is not about shaming anybody, because again, I believe that the 85% isn't because it's deliberate, it's just off the radar. Okay? So be nice when you go home. Here's the other thing. This is a half-hour talk, and I'm going to tell you the punchline to this talk. It's be nice and do something. Okay? We'll get there. Be nice and do something. I know, that was a little technical and wardrobe malfunction all at once. All right. Be nice and do something. That's the entire theme of this talk. And this particular theme, I've been giving this talk now for about 3 or 4 years, and I think it's sinking a little bit more, but because I feel like we're still not quite there, I think that when we think of be nice and do something, that we should hum Pop Goes the Weasel. So be nice and do something, right? So that it stays in our heads. So every time you hear Pop Goes the Weasel from now on, you're going to think of this talk and be nice and do something. Here's the good news. I'm not going to make you sing, so yay. And you're going to now do something nice for your partner this weekend. That's your next bit of homework. It could be a thank you note, buy them coffee, take them to Hawaii. By the way, if you're going to take them to Hawaii, I could be somebody's partner. All right. Is everybody clear on this next bit of homework? All right. High-five your partner and say, let's do this. All right. All right, one last little quick story. One last little quick story before we wrap this up. This was me about 4 years ago. Yeah, I looked in the mirror and I said, you know, I'm just not able to do all the things I want to do. I'm not able to accomplish all the things that I want to accomplish. I'm not able to thrive like I want to thrive. And I think we look around at our Rotary clubs sometimes, and especially with regard to membership, we're like, gosh, we just can't do all the things we want to do. And we can't thrive in the way that we want to thrive. And when we come to an event like this, we set goals, right? We're here to set goals and make plans so we can lead our club next year. And I am a huge fan of outrageous goals. So let's say I'm looking at that in the mirror and I'm like, you know what, but I want to be an athlete. I want to run 5Ks, I want to run half marathons, I want to run marathons. And in that state, that's an outrageous goal. And here's the thing about membership: set outrageous goals. Aim high, think big. The difference between our membership goals and our financial goals is that I can set a financial goal for my club. I could have an auction, and I could have somebody show up and cut a check for $100,000. That could happen. One big thing could happen with my financial goals. Membership is like this. I can set outrageous goals, and I should. But the only way to get there is by doing small, committed steps that you can sustain over time. Not one big thing. I can't invite a guest once. I can't be nice to my fellow Rotarian once. I have to sustain it over time. Now, I did accomplish this goal, right? There's my little this close photo. Right? Thanks. But here's the thing. I accomplished this goal, but most of the time, I'm somewhere in between these two pictures. I had an injury last spring, and I spent like almost 6 months out. I couldn't go run around and be all active. I turned 40. It takes a little bit more work, right, to do that. That I am somewhere in between these two pictures most of the time. And that's true for our club. You don't just reach the goal. It's really a lifestyle. And you have to just start where you're at, and if you have a little backslide or an injury, you start where you're at and you move again, okay? So keep in mind that membership goals are like this. They're not like your financial goals. Okay? Now remember your homework. You're going to invite a guest. You're going to do something nice, right? Give your partner a high five and say, "You're awesome." All right? This is my high elbow to you guys. And also, thank you for having me this morning.